I'm gonna admit her right now.
Hello, everyone.
Woo! A Zoom call. Look at this turnout. Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. So I don't have the fortune of having a camera or a microphone on my work desktop. So I'm going to open the Zoom on my work desktop so I can run the chat also. And so just give me a minute to get myself organized.
Hi, Gina. How are you feeling?
Could be better, could be worse.
When do you leave on maternity leave?
I think May 26th.
Okay.
Like basically after Memorial Day, the Tuesday after. So, and I'm due right. My due date's right after that. So
Okay.
I'm just gonna go to the end. Yeah.
What a time to be pregnant and having a baby. Holy crap.
Not ideal. Not ideal for a lot of really specific reasons.
Yeah.
When are
Yeah.
you due, Gina? Hi,
Okay.
everybody.
Hi,
Thanks
Vivi.
for being on it. My due date is June 5th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It will be great.
Thanks. I'm sure it will be, but it's a lot to manage in a shutdown. Like it's
Yes.
just a lot.
Woo!
Like a lot anyways, and then
I also showed Ren how to do this. That's awesome. Thank you. Okay. Well, the Zoom is making this pretty cool because I can see everybody who's on the call right now. I think that's as I was saying, I'm looking at my phone. I have no work video or microphone, so I have the chat panel open on my desktop and I can see everybody's faces, and then I'm looking at my phone for my video. So if you see me twice, that's why. Very DIY Zoom action. Maybe we'll wait a couple, like maybe 5 minutes. Look at everybody's faces. I miss everybody. Wow. We'll wait like 5 more minutes for a few more people. This looks like almost like our weekly laundry list of humans. So we'll start, like 5 more minutes and we'll get rolling. What a great list of names and faces. Can everybody hear me okay like this? Okay, perfect. That's better. Number 47.
Is anyone else here using Zoom on their iPhone?
I'm using it on my iPhone.
I'm specifically wondering if anyone in landscape is using Zoom on their iPhone. I'm always a different aspect ratio than everybody else, and I don't know why. Okay, all right. All right, Melissa's now the same aspect ratio as I am. All right.
I turned my iPhone sideways so I can see you sideways, but I have it on my computer and you look a little bit narrower. but
Yeah,
not
and now
really
you're
that
the
much narrow.
yeah, now you're the same size that I am. So apparently, yeah, okay.
Now we're this way.
Thank-
Now we're this way. I don't know. Okay. Well, maybe we just get started since nobody else is. I see a few people took a break. Actually, I'll do my 5 minutes and I'll see faces come back and then we'll start for real. So 2 minutes. And then when I see more faces repopulate, we'll get started. Just screwed up something. Okay. How do we feel about getting started? Does that feel good to this group? We're ready. We're in. Okay. So we've been, I don't know if we want to go around and just do quick intros, even though we can see each other for the most part. Does that feel good? Just name and where you're calling from / representing. And we can start, I'll just go down the chat. I'll go up down the screen. So I'll start with Gina. And we can just go from there.
Hello, Gina, Office of 3rd District County Supervisor Joan Hartman. And I'll
Awesome.
put a lot of the sort of updates I'm going to put in the chat right now as well.
Oh, wow. Convenient. Thank you. Why don't we go to Lisa? I don't know if you guys can see the same order as me.
There's 2 Lisas. I saw there's another Lisa. I'm Lisa with KCSB News. We're the radio station at UCSB, looking for public service announcements. If you're a nonprofit and want to get the word out for what you're doing, anything except for direct fundraising, we could help you out with.
That note. Spence, why don't you go?
Hi, everyone. Spencer Brandt from the Isla Vista Community Services District.
Savannah.
Couldn't find my mute button. Hi, my name's Savannah. I'm the Pardall Center UCIV Program Coordinator, and I represent Associated Students. Hello.
Hello. Vivi, do you want to go?
Viviana Marzano, Office of Student Life.
See Jay.
Jay Freeman, Isla Vista Community Service District, Goleta Valley Library Advisory Commission, local agency information commission. I'm not representing anyone but today but myself.
Justin, are you hiding back there?
Yeah, Justin Schroeder with the Foot Patrol. I can't see my own video, so I don't know if you guys can see me, but I'm here.
I don't see you. That's okay.
I'm here.
There you are. Aaron, I see you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Aaron Jones, Educational Opportunity Program, UCSB.
Tamala, do you want to go?
Hello, I'm Tamala. I work at the Pardall Center, and I'm here on behalf of our Isla Vista Community Resources Group.
Awesome. Derek?
Hi, everyone. Derek Marzano, UCPD Community Outreach Member.
Awesome. Bianca?
Hi, everyone. Bianca Orozco with Standing Together to End Sexual Assault.
Jonathan?
Hi, everybody. Jonathan Aboud, Isla Vista Community Services District General Manager, and also doing the admin for the Zoom backend, so admitting people and all that. So,
Thank you so much for helping. It's actually my first Zoom meeting I've ever hosted, so I'm very grateful that Jonathan is secretly making it actually happen. Janet, you want to go?
Sure. I'm Janet Stitch. I am a long-term IB resident. I'm on the board of the Isla Vista Food Cooperative. And I unfortunately will have to be in and out of the meeting. So I'm going to turn my picture off so I'm not rude. But I will be listening the entire time. So I'm happy to be here. Thanks.
Thanks for being here. Leonore? If you're there.
I think Leonora left. She
We'll come back. Oh, she did. Okay, thank you. Oh, I see. Perfect. Okay, Ash, you want to go?
Hi, I'm Ash. I'm just here as a community member, but I live in Isla Vista and I'm involved in some community networks like Eco Vista, Food Not Bombs, Local Politics. Happy to be here.
Awesome. I see the YouTube live stream. They can't comment for themselves, so we'll move to Gina. Food Not Bombs, Gina.
Hi, I'm Gina. I'm an organizer for Food Not Bombs and an interested community member.
Awesome. And Lori, are you back there? Lori's muted. We'll come back. And I see other Lisa, which might be co-op Lisa. Muted?
Yeah,
There
that's
she is.
me. That's co-op Lisa.
Hi.
I think I muted myself and I'm not on video. I'm lurking.
I can just see I'm creeping because it's Zoom, so I can see that you exist here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm multitasking and trying to minimize my background noise. So yes, Lisa from the Food Co-op. Hi. Now I'm muting myself again.
Is there anybody that I missed? Oh, I see Lori back. Lori, do you want to say hi? Perfect. Did anybody else want to do a quick intro that I missed on the list? Okay, awesome. And now I have the chat panel open, so we can use the chat for polite questions if we want to do it that way, or if you have like a really important thing you must say, you can use all caps in the chat. If you have announcements that you want to make sure get put out onto the Facebook page or the email, that's also a great place. Like Gina dropped all of her announcements already, so please go for that. And without further notice, let's kick this off with Gina from the county. Do you want to take us through some of your updates?
Yeah, pretty short today. I think one question we're getting a lot of is the governor saying he's going to close the beaches. Nothing officially has been issued as of yet that I'm aware of, so I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if law enforcement might. It sounds like the government this might be coming, so they may have more to offer about that, but it looks like my internet connection's unstable. So can you guys hear me okay?
It's okay.
Okay, good. The other thing I put in the group chat is just some updates for CalFresh families. If you have CalFresh and your student is on gets free or reduced lunch, it looks like you're eligible for some extra benefits. So for those of you who work with CalFresh families or low-income families, that might be helpful to know. And then similarly, it's live now. I think I talked about this maybe last week, that you can do, CalFresh families can do online ordering only through Amazon and Walmart, but that was something that was piloted in other states that went live in our state, and a short timeline in response to this. So that's all I have. Any questions?
I have a question. I saw last night Tri-County Produce did a post that the city of Santa Barbara is now requiring face masks at grocery stores. Is that county or just city specific?
Just the city. So I will say, unfortunately, our health officer in our county is still looking at whether or not they're going to issue that in every public space you have to wear some face covering. That is not the countywide mandate. So the city of Santa Barbara is the only city at this time that in our county that mandated that. I personally wish we would just move to that direction, just say just make it, clear guidance, but that's not where our health officer for the county is yet. So it does cause a lot of confusion, and our office does get calls because people think it's the mandate because they know LA County, it's the mandate. They know other places. Now we're hearing the city of Santa Barbara, and then they call and say, I was in Home Depot or wherever I was, and people weren't wearing masks and the employees weren't, and what are you going to do about it? It's not yet a mandate.
Okay.
Countywide.
Thank you
So
for
I
that
don't know if
clarity.
anybody, this would be a good place to poll people if anybody has thoughts on it. Because my thought is just make it consistent. Everyone has to have some kind of face covering. It doesn't have to be a mask, but it has to be a covering. And my sense is people want more consistency than less.
From a business, sorry, direct response to that, from what we're seeing, and I mentioned this to Spencer yesterday and thinking about the like reopening planning, I think consistency is going to make it so much easier for everybody. And then it makes it easier for us because from like, we get customers that get very upset with us about this. Like we're required to wear them as essential workers, but we can't require a customer wear it necessarily until we have that mandate. And so then it just gets tricky in the store and then we have customers complaining and then so it's like that. So it's like,
Yeah, that's exactly what my sense is. I see Lisa put in the chat too, MTD buses are going to start requiring coverings. And so I think it's sort of an inevitability. And I asked through our CEO's office as well, I said, it would be really helpful if we just had almost like a column of what's recommended and what's in order. Because there's a lot of things that are recommended and a lot of things that are in an order, and it's hard, and jurisdictions are different, and so this has been one of the challenging things. So I think on the flip side, one of the reasons why they haven't done it is because the legality of if you mandate that the entire public have something, then do you have to supply them with that thing? And what would that look like? And with face covering, I mean, it can literally just be like, like it doesn't have to be sophisticated. We're not requiring N95 masks, but it's just, it's one of the many interesting things that you have to sort of parse out and vet. Any other questions? All right.
I'll say one follow up. We got, for the first time, the clearest health directive, I would say, came through, I think on the 28th or 24th. And it's the one that has the social distance checklist on the back of it. And so I don't know if other people have seen this yet, but it's the first thing that we've received where we're like, oh, thank goodness, because it shows where we're not allowed to take reusable bags, for example. And so where we're dealing with this combo of very upset customers that also feel confused and they're blaming us. Now we, for the first time, have a really great document to go to that we're required to post also. So if you come to the co-op, you can actually request to see all the information and it's together in one list. And so for us, it's been great to have that happening because I'd imagine that will be maybe a template when other businesses maybe start to reopen, or if like, I don't know, childcare starts to, things that are guides, and then you can have people just looking at the same info. So we're happy about that. Cool. Any other questions for Gina? Awesome. Great. Does anybody else have a major update that has to do with more wide direct services or COVID specific on the call right now? Okay.
I did want to mention one thing, Melissa. Hi everyone, Spencer from the Community Services District. Myself and Jonathan, our general manager, have been asked to lead a group as part of the county's reopening framework discussion process. We were on a Zoom a couple of days ago. It was a very large group made up of leaders from Barbara County, and the goal is to provide input into how a reopening plan will work. So the first thing that I think many of you may know now is that the governor of California really has the authority, and it's really rests with him in terms of when reopening occurs. He's laid out his sort of 4-phase approach for how reopening is going to go. And how we are now in phase 1, where we are still adhering to strict social distancing. Counties and other local jurisdictions do have the authority to slow the process of reopening down, but they do not have the authority to speed it up. So the purpose of our group is to try and provide that is tailored to different sectors of our economy, as well as different types of public services that are out there, so that people can reopen as quickly as they possibly can and as safely as they possibly can, when the time is right. So really, we'll be here back with more updates as the weeks progress in terms of what that framework looks like. This process is going to move quickly, and by when I say, I mean reopening as a whole. What I mean is just we're going to have some public documents out there that outline how things are going to go within the next few weeks. So we'll really appreciate your input and advice when that happens. And yeah, that's sort of my update on that. And Jonathan, I don't know if there's anything else that you wanted to add to that, but we're looking forward to trying to make the process as smooth as possible, and really in recognition that every single thing that we do, whether it's childcare, operating a business, providing services to our members of our homeless community, those are all very different things, and there's different ways that people interact with each other. So we're looking to identify ways that we can maximize going back to normal within a framework where people are still safe, and just having that plan ready for when the governor says it's time, it's go time. We can begin to open things up a little bit more in this phased approach, will be super important. So,
does anybody have any questions for Spencer around the reopening planning process? Well, I guess you don't really have that plan, but any questions about this? Okay. I think this will be maybe a weekly meeting to just have that be an ongoing thing that we tap back in about, maybe just as it becomes more of a thing. Which is great.
Guess I have a question. So is that something that we're looking at doing like in the relatively near future, trying to do some kind of ramp up, or is that something where like the process has been like when we're at a point where which potentially could be far in the future? I mean, I know it was just at the county that they were talking about November a few weeks ago, and certainly when you look at some of the stuff that's come out about the possibility of like when vaccines might occur, it is looking pretty far in the future. But
yeah, Jay, the frameworks, we're gonna get the first draft of this reopen plan on Friday, and then we're gonna have the input from Isla Vista back next Friday, the 8th, and then the final or draft public plan will be out on the 15th. So pretty fast. There's a question I'm sorry.
And just to add on to that, Jay, I haven't any timeline that's definitive whatsoever, so that we're hoping to get more clarity, as this process unfolds.
I'll say there will probably never be a timeline affixed to these types of things because it's about conditions being met. And so to answer Ash's question, this is part of the dimmer process. And so he has identified 4 sort of categorized businesses that are like least risky to most risky. And the sort of the order in which the least risky can open. And that's going to have to line up with, remember, the 6 conditions that he has already laid out. So testing being one of them, and that's happening. And then having track and trace infrastructure. So like, for instance, counties are going to have members who can help track and trace. And so when those are in place, then those first least risky businesses will get to start opening up. But to put a timeline on it, the only thing that I would say is like timeline related is for concerts, sporting events, big groups, those types of things likely will not be allowed until the vaccine is out. And that is probably, maybe a year or more. As Spencer said, the group meeting ready and having those businesses ready when the governor says, okay, we can move forward in these, not cascading. I'm blanking on what's the right word to use, but sequential or order.
And just to be clear, I put in the chat a PowerPoint about the California pandemic roadmap. So some of these questions or lack of answers are kind of contained in that.
Is there any, it's so interesting to think about this in such an unknown way, but I like that there's at least, we can go with a roadmap that allows for like the long-term planning and not then have to be bungling it all. Like it's felt, like for being in a grocery store doing this has been, it's like, it's not funny, but it's been kind of hilarious. I don't know a better word, because it is really like, you move left, but then you have to move right, but then you have to stop, and you're like looking to make sure you have all the information. And so it feels really great that we have enough together now to kind of start to build actual plans, and maybe using the grocery stores as like little test zones for how it's worked well or not well in other places. So that's interesting. And I guess I have a follow-up question. We just had an email about COVID community testing sites. Maybe Gina could actually knows anything about this, but our HR manager sent prioritizing essential workers, but I guess in Santa Maria, there's going to be a test site opening, and then there's more opening in Santa Barbara.
Yeah, that's a good question. So this is with a state collaboration. So starting, I think on Monday, the county's going to release specifics either today or tomorrow. So let me just start there about how to get an appointment and the criteria. Let me see if I can find my notes from the call about that. But there's going to be a testing site that's going to open first in Santa Maria. It would be open to, I believe, any county resident. It'll be open for, right now they estimate about 2 weeks, depending on demand, how it goes. And then they're going to have a site open in Lompoc and then one in Santa Barbara as well after that. And there's a pretty big testing capacity there. And so I don't have much to offer other than the county will release more specifics about it today, but the public health officer announced it, I think, at yesterday's press conference, sort of the skeleton of that. And it does prioritize essential workers, but I think it's much bigger scope than what has been available thus far. Let me see if I find, let's see, May 4th, key areas. So each site will be able to do conservatively about 150 tests per day. So it'll be about 660 tests per week. It'll be in operation 5 days a week. And like mentioned, it'll start in Santa Maria, but it's not limited to just Santa Marian. And then they're going to move. It's sort of like having a road show, I think. They'll move to the two other places in our county in the coming weeks. So this is all in an effort to ramp up testing capability, because from there to move into suppression, we have to up our testing, and then I think they're going to start testing to wider swaths of people to get a sense of asymptomatic, like how many asymptomatic people may carry it. And that's happening not just in our county, but generally.
Awesome. So we'll look for, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, look for more information to come out from the county, probably today. If not, I would think definitely by tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, that's great. We're really grateful for that, because obviously being in the grocery store and not having easy test access, even if workers that are symptomatic, but they still can't be prioritized for a test. So this is great.
Yeah. Plus, ILVCNs in general, because of age and health, have not been prioritized for. I mean, that's just when you have rationed. So that's why IV still only had the one confirmed case, but there's likely many more cases out there. But just the rationing's no fun.
I heard that we were all going to get a test, but that's a different conversation. Sorry. Is there any more questions about the phased reopening? There's some fun chat going off if you want to. Oh, I see Lori asking about an update on the antibody testing.
I think private labs are doing them now. You can either get a referral from a doctor, and I think the fees are waived, or you can pay about $100. I think with is it LabQuest? You can call them up, and if you can't get a referral from your doctor, you can just pay $130. It's I know personally speaking, my mom called her doctor to get one because she's convinced she had it in early February. And the doctor said, just wait because the tests are going to improve. So that's all I have on antibody testing. They are, I mean, it's happening, like they're doing it, but I don't have anything substantive for our county besides what Dr. Comer announced last week.
Okay. Any other questions about phase reopening or to Gina or anything around testing or the test site? Okay. Does anybody else want to offer an update, service update? I have a couple of UCSB folks on the call, a few of you, anything fun to talk about? Not, it doesn't have to be COVID related either. We can break free of that if we want to. I'll just name somebody. Do you have any census updates? Is that still a thing? Is that worth talking about?
Yes, we do have an update actually. The first part is that we're still doing really bad. It's at 42% in IV right now reporting. And so we need to get it up, but we finally got our phone banking system set up this week. So we're taking volunteers who are gonna call Isla Vista residents. We have the information from the voter file, so people who registered to vote. And we're gonna call them and make sure that they filled out the census and give them information about filling it out. So anybody who wants to volunteer, you can email me and we'll get you set up with an account on our phone banking system. It's really easy. There's an app and everything. So please sign up to volunteer and we can, get our number up, because 42% again is so bad, especially when Ivy got to 60% around this time last time. So we're really behind right now.
Also, we are going to probably write a message that you can probably include in your Facebook pages or your email lists for volunteers, because Jonathan and I are thinking that although the census goes until October 31st, our students who are still in class are going, by the first week in June, they are thinking of finals, graduation, and then with the change in their contracts, like if new students come in September, they might be double counting for the same household, so in terms of students at UCSB or City College, we would like to have the most of them responding, I would say the latest first, second week in June.
So you guys can just share anything that's pertinent that we can put on the month left, yeah. So however fast that we can share on our Facebook pages and try to
yeah.
Well, one thing that I can share with you briefly, because a lot of you work with students, the main confusion was when students went home, and so the parents started counting their students back home and not here. But the census wants to count them here because that's where they live most of the year. So if any student asks you and they say, oh, my parents already counted me, it doesn't matter. Ask them to fill out the census where they live here in IV, because the census has an algorithm that can catch duplications. And in that sense, they are going to count the students here in Isla Vista. For the students in housing, I think the deadline for them is tomorrow or Monday to actually respond the census for all the students that live in housing, except for family housing and Sierra Madre, I think. But if not, we have them covered, and fraternities and sororities are also answering in a different way. So I'm working with the managers, house mothers, and presidents there was a lot of confusion with fraternities and sororities because they had to change the way in which they answer because of the pandemic. So we are still trying to put out fires on that end.
We have a lot of social media that our interns have created that we're going to bundle and share with everybody, that you could feel free to share the messaging we have. And then we'll have like the volunteer sign up pretty soon, because we just got the system set up this week and we're doing our dry run right now. And so then people can start feeding in once we've got the kinks worked out by the end of the week.
So I know that you're correct for many reasons. If nothing else, is because you're part of this process and have been talking to people a lot. And I mean, I've also checked myself about where have you mostly been staying this year through until, for example, April 1st. But I think that we might have to go stronger on the explanation for people when we're explaining what they're supposed to do or not do, particularly because, so I've seen some comment threads on Facebook where people were discussing like where they're supposed to file. And part of the issue is that the actual census website process has a very blunt question, which is simply, on April 1, 2020, were you living or staying at 6533 my address? Yeah. And that it is such a blunt question. It seems so simply worded. I know that there's all sorts of background documentation that makes it clear what you're supposed to do. There's a whole fact page on what to do with college students. But this is such a blunt question that I almost feel like we have to, like, in advertising, say, here's what the census says. Here's what they mean, or something.
And so we have done that. Oh, sorry, Jonathan.
No, go ahead.
We have done that. So, you know, for me at UCSB, I have the capability of sending one email to 26,000 students. And I have sent already 3 emails to 26,000 students and 24,000 parents, where it says, in the question where they ask you if you were in this address on April 1st, please answer yes. So it's really, really spelled out.
How about for City College?
It's the same. And, you know, I don't know how many students I can reach from City College because I don't have their emails, but those that live in Tropicana, they have received the same message, because part of Tropicana is parts of, you know, UC Regents or whatever. So, and they are going to be counted by housing anyways, you know. So the confusing part is only for those students who rent independent housing in Goleta, Santa Barbara, or IV. That's the only confusing section. Sorry, Jonathan, you wanted to say something?
Well, I was going to say, we can be blunt, but we also can't say, here's how to fill out your form. Like, we cannot say, here's what the form says and here's what you put in this box. That's pretty illegal. We can tell them, you should be counting yourself in Isla Vista. Yeah. But we can't say, this is how you fill out the form. It's like a weird nuance, but they're really sensitive about people who aren't like oath sworn census enumerators telling people like what to put on the census exactly. Whereas we can say, you need to count yourself in Isla Vista. This is why. Here are the rules. It's important for these reasons. But we can't say, here's how to fill out the census.
Thank you guys for explaining that. I think that it's been confusing also. And so it's great that we have people to answer questions. I put a little note in the chat that if there are large format flyers or info for volunteers to sign up, please bring them to our community board. The community board has actual space on it right now because there's not that much happening. So we can make a nice like census zone if it's helpful to just have things visually there. Yeah. We're happy to do that.
I just also remember that because of this confusion, the census put out a specific video, a YouTube video, which is probably 3 minutes long, specifically about college students and how to fill it out. And we have been sharing that video also with the students. So then it comes from the census and it doesn't come from us, as Jonathan said.
So interesting. Well, I think that you guys should be commended for sticking through what was already a really difficult process and now is like so complicated I can't even imagine, and so much rides on this actually happening. So big ups to Jonathan and Viviana and all the volunteers that have been helping and other workers to do this, because every time you talk about it, it kind of stresses me out because there's so many moving pieces. So thank you for helping anchor some of that for our community and clarify it. Awesome. Any other questions about this for this team? Okay. I see some new faces have popped on the Zoom, which is fun because I see Diana's face now and I haven't seen that face in a while. Hi. We're kind of now in a point, if there's not major updates, I think we should just feel free to go around. And if you have an update for your org, or if you're doing a direct service and you want to talk about it, this is a good call for that. So I'll open this up to anybody that wants to go. I don't want to just call in people.
I have an update for Stessa. I know last week I discussed a self-defense class that we were going to have, but we're having another one this coming Saturday. It's just a one-day class. It's from 10 to 1, and I can go ahead and post the registration information in the chat. But this Saturday, May 2nd, from 10 to 1, people can call me to register, they can email me, or there's a link that they can follow and they can go ahead and register. We really, really want to engage the IV community at this time. So if any of y'all want to take it as well, that would be great. And I'll go ahead and share that right now.
Thanks, Bianca. How's the anti-street harassment campaign going? Are you guys getting people to participate?
We got a couple, but after Denim Day, I think people then switched to Denim Day stuff, which was great because we had a lot of folks participate in that too. But thank you, that was great. The collaboration was great.
Yeah, totally. Any other questions for Bianca or Stessa? Okay. Do we want to move into a law enforcement update since we still have 2 law enforcement folks on the line?
Sure, it's Justin. We really don't have that much of an update at this time. Internally right now, we're really trying to figure out what's going to happen with the governor's order to close the beaches. It's kind of tough for us, especially here in Isla Vista. I've been monitoring it, and I feel like folks here in IV have been doing a really good job of social distancing at the beaches, and it's a great way to get some fresh air and sun and just kind of de-stress a little bit. And so Lieutenant Camarena is actually in another call trying to figure out what our enforcement is going to look like for that governor's order, because we're kind of torn. We're sort of caught in the middle here. So we're trying to figure it out as we go. Other than that, yesterday, Joan came out to IV and actually walked to all the IV parks, and that was great. We're trying to move forward on some kind of services for the houseless population that seems to be increasing quite a bit in Isla Vista. No real direction yet, but we are working on that as well. Other than that, we're just upping the patrols. We've noticed some suspicious activity around some of the vacant apartments and housing units. And so we want to make sure that nobody's taking advantage of the vacant units and looting or stealing people's belongings. So that's really all we have from law enforcement, unless anybody has any specific questions.
Any questions? Gina has discovered how good cold ocean water is for pregnant ladies. I love this chat. I think it's really cool to hear the reflection of what law enforcement is noticing in Isla Vista at the beaches with social distance.
I am so sad if they close during the heat wave. And it's like there were people, but it's like people are generally trying their best to stay in their clusters. But I hope if the governor is going to close the beaches, maybe it'll be like, okay, parking lots are closed and like no umbrellas to discourage like more stationary people. But yeah, it's just hard. Nothing's easy right now.
I guess that we will hear, well, this one we'll hear as it comes. It feels like it's another great example of a lifetime action that now has to have a ground level plan put into place. So thank you to law enforcement for being in the middle of this one, and also for reflecting positively on Isla Vista distancing, because I think that's been an ongoing wonder. And so that's good feedback. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. People have been much better this week than the update I gave a couple weeks ago when we had to start taking enforcement action. We've noticed a turnaround, and hopefully that was just a couple of bad apples in the mix, and maybe some people from out of town that weren't behaving responsibly. But this week has been great so far, and we're not excited for the weekend and what we may have to do with the beach order, and so that puts us in a bad spot, I think. But we'll figure it out.
We will look forward to updates or seeing what happens. Is anybody else from law enforcement on the call that wants to update anything?
I'm
Derek.
on the call. Derek from
Derek.
UCPD. Hi. I don't have any further updates. I heard that there might have been some confusion with my update last week because I was equally confused, but we're just following the university's directives. So you can look on their website to see what the university has officially opened and or closed. But yeah, we're seeing the same good efforts with social distancing this week. So I would echo everything Justin said.
Awesome. If there's any messaging on the Insta, I don't know if you guys are doing Insta right now as UCPD, but the co-op can share. We talked about the shared messaging. We're sharing a little bit of what St. George and Ivy Rec and Park are doing with their awesome social distance activity project. If there's like unified messaging, or if there's like a cool thing that law enforcement notices, like if you take a photo and the beach is really empty and it's good social distancing, we're like happy to share those things on our story to kind of keep that positive reflection of how good the community is going. So that could be a fun way to, if it's a great weekend and everybody is social distancing, that could be a fun Insta to keep sharing around maybe.
I'm actually really glad you brought that up, because last week I walked around Isla Vista and UCSB's campus for 2 hours and took a bunch of pictures of all of the empty areas around campus in Isla Vista just to document what's happening in this moment. So if any of you guys on this call want pictures of empty parts of Isla Vista or empty areas or pictures of what's happening at your stores, just to document this moment, I'm getting paid to take those pictures, so I can send those to you, or I can offer that service to you. Just shoot me an email and I'd love to help.
That's awesome. Thanks, Derek. Any other questions for law enforcement, or now opportunities to model your business for professional photography? Thank you. Okay. Does anybody else want to offer an update? Leonor, do you want to talk about St. George, maybe the work with Rec and Park, maybe the food distribution, anything?
Hello.
Hi.
Sorry, I
Hi.
had to run out earlier. We're going to have some work done in the teen center. So paint the floors, paint the walls. So yeah, we're in our third week of the 6 feet apart but together at Heart campaign, which is going well. We have ESL class that meets daily that's really taken on to being part of the campaign, as well as our community members and families. I'm actually getting a lot of text messages and emails is how I'm getting them. So I'm having to do a lot of resharing of that information. And then we also have a YouTube channel that we got going. So it's story time, and we have our UCSB student staff reading stories. We'll also have different volunteers and SGYC staff doing some more readings. Or if anyone else wants to contribute to it, that would be great. We can add more people on there if anyone wants to read their favorite story.
Can I get an FM or back to
And the food distribution is going very well. We serve about 180 people in less than 2 hours. Then we got masks donated from Deckers this past week, so we gave those out as well, which was great. And I think that's it for SGYC.
Do you guys have enough volunteers for your distribution? Is that
Yeah.
working out?
Luckily, we have a really great team. We have 2 staff from IVYP that come, and then 2 of our YMCA staff. So it works out really well with the 4 of us.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you. It's been really cute seeing the posts of what you guys were getting for the entries for the social media campaign. It's very like heart opening. So thank you for doing it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any questions for Leonore?
Yeah, I have a question. I just sent this in a DM, but what day do you serve your meals? Sorry, I missed that. I'm trying to keep a running list of when meals are available.
Tuesdays from 10 to 12.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And is that available at, did you say at the community center?
The St. George Youth Center at 889 Camino del Sur.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Any other questions? Okay. Does anybody else want to offer an update? I have Savannah and Tamala from Pardall Center. Do you guys want to do any updates on the call? Anything? Not to put you on the spot.
No, it's fine. Currently, the Pardall Center is still closed, the first floor printing area. Since I don't see too many other AS representatives here, I can say just to plug in that IBTU and LRC are still going strong. The Emergency Relocation Expense Fund program that they have been doing has been really successful. I think they've spent about $55,800 as of last week. So just continue to reach out to anybody that may be in need of just getting a little bit more support financially when it comes to moving. And as far as that goes, I don't think I have any other updates for the Pardall Center. I don't know if Deanna wants to say anything since she's here.
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to see these faces. I don't have a lot more to report right now, other than to say that we did conclude the AS elections last week. And so we'll begin to see all of our newly elected officials. Also, there were some new fees and reaffirmations, all of which passed. So really happy to see the support that the students had for continuing to fund the really important work that's happening out of the university and in the community. And so onward and upward with the next transition to the new leadership. And I think that's about it.
Out of curiosity, what was the voter turnout like with everybody being remote? Like, was it more or was it the same?
So it was lower than in the last couple of years. It was 28%.
Okay.
I think in previous years it's been 30. I think the highest was 36%, something around that. So definitely a little bit lower, but well above the threshold. It is required that at least 20% of the undergraduate population vote in order for the election to be valid. And so, of course, we didn't really know what to expect in terms of what it was going to look like having everybody gone. But not only was the turnout pretty significant, but also the margin of the vote for the reaffirmation of things like the Department of Public Works, program board, all these other programs passed with a higher percentage than normal. So students really spoke to the importance of maintaining that programming.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Any other updates or questions for Pardall Center? And I guess AS also, technically, since you are the AS folks on the call. Well, I'll say that the co-op is really excited because we've been able to re-engage with our large volume orders. And so we landed a food bank order last week, and then we landed a pretty big food bank order this week. They're having some issues supplementing from County Food Bank. And so we feel really happy to be able to have access to most of the stuff again and be able to get it on a level that it can actually be now volume enough to feed many people. So that's a fun AS connection. And we're still sourcing for all the kosher halal bags, and it's Ramadan right now, so we've added some Ramadan sourcing, and so it's been really nice to be able to keep that consistency, and we're really grateful for that partnership, of course. So thank you to AS for trusting us with your resources so that we can keep feeding the students. It's been very good mutual aid.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Melissa.
Yeah,
And
yeah, totally.
I will just note, I mean, still a lot of things in development. There's just so much happening, but we have received also at AS 5,000 masks that will start to be distributed to students. Those are already going to be going out from the food bank in the bags of food that are going out to students starting tomorrow. And then we're looking to have locations in IV as well as on campus for the distribution of masks and thermometers, and probably additional food distribution sites in IB
Great.
as well. So
Great.
a lot more coming on that. And of course, there's still the social messaging campaign of the beloved community that's being worked on. So definitely lots and lots of things that are coming.
Do
so
you have a
collaboration.
Do you want to talk for a sec? We haven't had anybody from Beloved Community on the call. Do you want to talk for a sec about what's being worked on with the messaging? Do you feel comfortable to do that?
I can take a run at it. There was a meeting this morning that I was not at, so I think it's probably moved forward even more, but I can tell you in general strokes, what the group has been looking at doing is doing a social distancing campaign that really looks at kind of solidarity. So developing like stickers that talk about people staying home, and having those distributed by businesses. So for example, when Woodstocks delivers pizza, they could put that sticker on the pizza box, right, to remind people about the campaign. We also want to do large boards in front of places like the food co-op, the Ivy Clinic, and other critical places to really just note that there are heroes who are working here and that we want to support the folks that are doing the work in our community. There's going to be some other messaging that is really about kind of continuing to give hope and inspiration about community and sticking through it, even when it gets hard, but to keep going. So some large banners, perhaps at the Perdal Center and some other locations that have that kind of messaging. I'm hoping that we're going to incorporate it into that, since we're now distributing masks, also messaging to support the idea that people want to be wearing their masks. And so make that kind of, part of the conversation. And then also probably doing a sticker pack, because we have AS does sticker packs with kind of cool little cartoony characters that depict kind of other iconic UCSB symbols. And so using that also to do more social distancing. We have identified 3 messages. One of them is the one that Leonore developed. That was the 6 feet apart, but together at heart. And some other messaging. All that is being translated into Spanish and into Mandarin.
Yeah,
I think that's right. As well as English. So just trying to make sure that, a combination of different messages are being put out there and that we're coordinating those efforts. I think anybody who might be interested in participating in those conversations is more than welcome. Those meetings right now are happening on Thursdays at 10 a.m. via Zoom, and Rodney Gould is leading up that effort.
Thank you for that update. I've seen some of the graphics. I haven't been able to make the call because the timing is hard for me, but they're so cute and they're so vibrant and very adorable and very Isla Vista. Does anybody have any questions for Diana or anybody from AS or about Beloved Community? Okay. I think that campaign is going to be really cool and unifying. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah.
One thing to announce, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go please.
So it's specific to UCSB students and particularly students in the Education Opportunity Program, but we have, in partnership with the Associated Students, an emergency grant. It has some very specific criteria related to students who have unexpected or unforeseen emergencies pertaining to like medical or dental expenses or housing, textbook supplies, grad school tests, but the AS Senate voted to add an additional criteria for any students experiencing challenges related to COVID-19 and put an additional $40,000 in that fund. We've been working fastidiously to transition that, what was previously a very paper-intensive procedure and process, to a virtual, to an electronic process. We're on the verge of reopening that grant. So just for general information, I know it's more tailored to EOP students, although any undergraduate can be an EOP student, but to qualify, you need to have be out financially and have financial eligibility or income criteria. But we're looking forward to, hopefully at this rate, probably beginning of next week, to reinitialize that grant. So we'll be sending out notification to get the word out, because then we'll have, this is week 5, right? So we'll have just a few weeks. Well, the grant is awarded all the way through the summer, but we know that there's a lot of need out there. So we want to try to get that moving as quick as possible. So just want to let y'all know.
And I would actually just maybe piggyback on that too, if I may. One more thing, Melissa, just as another heads up in terms of something else that AS is doing. We are looking right now at streamlining a process to be able to respond to COVID-19 requests for funding. Within Associated Students, we have a number of entities that do provide funding, not only for students, but also, as you're familiar with, IVCRC or IVTU, or a lot of the other folks that provide funding more broadly to the community. Coastal Fund is another example. So we're really looking at developing a system so that we can garner more of those funds AS-wide and be able to focus on the requests that might be coming in, but to also let the community know what is alternative kind of funding options that are available. So you'll also be hearing a lot more about that. That should help us to kind of leverage our resources even better as far as AS and within the community.
Awesome. So we'll look forward to seeing some cool stuff coming from EOP and AS for more resources. All student specific, I'm assuming, but still really important. Also consolidating some of this stuff so that if we're asked for resources, we know exactly where to point people. So it's great to hear that it's all coming.
Well, and for the ones that I'm referring to, certainly mostly student, but also, again, lots of these funding
general funds
are general funds for the community at large.
Amazing. Any follow-up questions about that? Okay. Gina from Food Not Bombs, do you want to give any update about Food Not Bombs service right now?
Yes, I do. I'm just going to continue to repeat my Food Not Bombs wish list on these calls. We are trying to do more surveys of the houseless folks that we are serving. When we're passing out food, we're trying to ask them questions. So if you have specific things that you're interested about their needs, talk to your favorite Food Not Bombs volunteer, and we can incorporate that into the conversations we're having with them. I talked to a few people yesterday, and some of the things that they say are on their wish list include blankets, sleeping bags, tarps, solar chargers were a huge hit last time we gave those out. I think we got some from United Way. Small battery powered flashlights. We're always looking for donations of sanitary things like wipes and hand sanitizer. I know in general that's really hard to get right now. Same with masks. Most of them are not wearing masks still. Band-Aids, baby wipes. I'm saying it again because it's so important. Yeah, so just the basics. We have funds to continue to buy food, but Food Not Bombs does not have a steady source of income where we can buy these things. So if you hear of any organizations that are looking to connect their resources with the houseless community, please get in touch with me. Thank you, Melissa. I'll follow up with you on that. And we're really excited that we just started a partnership with the co-op where we're now serving co-op sandwiches in brown bags with co-op snacks, drinks, heartier items like soups and lentils, pre-cooked food. I think that's everything. We are going to be participating and working with the Rec and Parks District. We'll be participating on those calls in the future. But yeah, if you have any questions or want Food Not Bombs volunteers to communicate anything or ask any questions, please let me know. I'll drop my email in the chat right now.
You guys are amazing. 5 days a week is so much work and it's so inspiring, and it's great the co-op gets to be a part of it. I think we're all really grateful.
Yeah.
I think it would be helpful to have your wish list if you can put it on the chat panel, but also I'm curious to know quantity specific requests of sanitation things. I think it's something I've noticed going by the park. There's a little encampment on Escuello, and that there's not, maybe people don't have access to even like storage containers, like places to put their stuff into. And so I was thinking about that because I'm like, wow, it's definitely a lived in environment, which is cool that this space can be getting utilized, but that there might be things that like I might take for granted, like, oh, I can get a storage container to put my stuff in. And that maybe there's a conversation about that community resources can help so that people can have their stuff be organized and have like more easy access and keep it clean and keep it sanitary. So any of that kind of like structural or infrastructure kind of wish list, and then the specifics of the sanitized, Band-Aids, whatever, baby wipes, having that like on a list would be really helpful.
Okay, I'll think about that.
Yeah. Follow-up question. Do you know, as far as how that space is being utilized, are people Like if we did a donation, or I, like on a personal, not the co-op, like bought like some storage tubs, is that something that could be helpful for people if they're being a little more in one place rather than moving around a lot? I'm not sure what the arrangement is or what the structure of it looks like.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think in general, any type of storage things are great. I would say think about like the utilization of it. Like if it had wheels or something, I feel like that would be, or if folded up, like I feel like that would be especially helpful. But I know that RPG is thinking about this as well, and potentially, I don't know, there's been some discussion about how they can fund these types of like storage lockers. Of
Yeah,
some
like a
kind.
locker.
Yeah, and that's I feel like been an ongoing conversation for a long time now. But I think anyone would be happy, and even on a smaller scale, like tote bags and backpacks are also really good storage options too.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions for Jane or Food Not Bombs or anything? Maybe houseless community, if we want to talk about that for a moment. If anybody has questions.
Do you mind putting your contact information in the chat?
Yeah, sure. I'll do that right now.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. I'll do a time check. So it's 10 to 1. And I want to make sure that anybody that wants to have an update has a moment to do that. Did I miss anybody that has a thing to talk about? Okay, speak now or forever hold your Zoom. Oh, Lori, great.
I'll give an update. So the IVYP continues with our services at the Family Resource Center. We're doing food distribution by appointment on Mondays and Thursdays. And we're supporting people by phone and Zoom to do, sign up for unemployment, sign up for 805 DocuFund or the COVID-19 Relief Fund, Medi-Cal, CalFresh. And we're also shifting this week. We're partnering with Immigrant Hope to provide some webinars to the immigrant community about public charge and COVID-19 and what they need to think about and consider. And we're hoping to rehearse next week and make that available. And then we'll also record it and post it. This is a nice way to serve our immigrant community. And then we'll do one on census as well once we get the technology down there. So we're shifting. We're not leaving any of the direct service behind, but we're moving from sort of that emergency response to also think about how do we serve the community in all the ways that we always want to do that. So the other thing would say, after the immigrant, replacing what would have been our immigration forums in IV and Goleta with an online version, we're then going to be looking at parenting support and parenting classes online. So that's what's coming up for us.
It's amazing. Do you feel like for Anna and Azucena and the Family Resource Center team, is it still just like the 3 or 4 of them doing all that direct service, or did you add more? I'm just wondering, like logistics. Wow.
So when we do the food distribution, we bring in some of our staff from our children's center to do the schlepping, because that would be too much. It's Azucena, Shaylee, and Anna doing most of the direct service support, mainly because that's, they're really trained to do that. And it's complicated.
Yeah, no, it is definitely.
It's not like you can just shove someone in there. So they're doing that. They're managing. They've also noticed that the number and frequency of calls and texts, we're now into week 7. And it's not, more people are going to be losing their jobs. I know. but we're also going to be opening up, and some of that emergency, how do I sign up for CalFresh? How do I, the aid that people need that they didn't need before, that first round has happened.
Yeah.
There will be another round, but the first round was just, like you guys figuring out how do you do your work socially distant? How do you do your work over the phone? How do you take safety into account for the work you're doing? And I know we're not the only ones that have had to do that shift, but now we're finally able to think a little more proactively and a little less reactively.
It's an amazing resource that you guys are providing, and I was mostly asking because I was thinking about how complicated it is and the human capacity and how much those women take seriously every client that they're serving. And so I was thinking more about, like, is it outpacing their capacity because it is such complicated work? But it's nice to sound like it has gotten to a more stasis maybe before it jumps again. Amazing. Superheroes.
Melissa, I just wanted to add, Laura reminded me, Immigrant Hope, who does a lot of this immigration work, they actually have a virtual Run for Hope, I believe it's called, on May 11th. So they have like a 5K, a 10K, I forget what else. It's just $10 to enter, and all the funds go to they can continue to do the work that they're doing at IVYP when they've done stuff here. So if anybody, I could look for that link and send it out, but it's a virtual 5K, 10K Run for Hope.
Great.
For Immigrant Hope.
Please share that so we can promote that. I would just donate and then run in place.
You could do that.
I might. We're losing people on the call, which is fine because it's almost 1. But I wanted to note that Justin just put into the chat panel a great note about our beaches. So hopefully we will not have our beaches closed because we're not being a problem. So
you can run
to the beach. So, and that'd be a good, exciting moment for people. I think in talking about that social media idea of sharing pictures of people doing a good job, the positive reinforcement that could literally be, hey, wow, we did not fall into this problem category, and don't make it a problem. And look how good we're doing, and keep on sharing some kind of, whether it's images that we're sharing or just even at the co-op, we see kids coming in from the beach a lot and just having that banter, hey, we hear everyone's being really distant. I don't know, to keep it happening.
Also, if you go at 6, 6:30, 7, 8 a.m., there's hardly anybody there. So if you need a beach fix, go early. And it's clear.
That's not surprising.
Can I get a VCRFM to
Sorry.
take back some cupcakes with Grumpy?
Sorry. Cupcake issue.
Thank you.
We have a note also from Wendy, who jumped on the call from Stessa, English only for the self-defense class this Saturday. Some coming into Spanish soon. And I think that's a note mostly to Leonore, but if anybody wants to know, that's there. Well, in the interest of it being almost 1, and we have peeled off a lot of people from the call, I think I'll close us out unless anybody has something else they want to add in. Do we like the Zoom? I think the Zoom is good. We can stick with the Zoom if Jonathan is happy to help host next week. And we'll keep these. We're good. Good. Thank you for your help. We'll keep these as weekly calls until it feels like it's not worth a weekly call. It seems like it's still nice to check in and see people's faces now with the Zoom. So same bat time next week. Can't believe it's going to be May. Amazing. We're doing it. And thank you everyone for all your work. Also, it's incredible to see what everybody's accomplished in the last 7 weeks. It's kind of insane. So thank you. Yeah, we'll see you guys soon, and we're here. And send me anything that you want to share out. I'm trying to be really on top of sharing, so send me things. Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good afternoon, you guys. Thank you. See you later. Bye. Bye. Leave.